we have to start the rig rundown with, you know, a message from our sponsors. Thanks, Wayne. A lot of people have been requesting a rig rundown, so we've decided to finally get together and do this. We'll start with mine. Everything runs through the Furman power conditioner. My guitar line goes right into my Line 6 V75 wireless. I love it, never given me any problems. Works pretty great. From there, I go over to my TC Electronics G Major 2. This came highly recommended from a lot of my fellow musicians. A lot of people are using it. I love it. I've always loved pedals, but there's a lot of tap dancing you gotta do when you're trying to change things up. And when you're on stage moving around, that's just too much to deal with. So I moved over to a MIDI system, and this thing's great. I have 4 different patches set up, and anytime I need to switch between patches, any of my various effects will turn on and off depending on what channel I'm on. From there, you can go down. This is my newest edition. I have the Voodoo Lab GCX guitar audio switcher. Now what this does is I have 3 pedals in the back, which are in my chain. I have a MXR Smart Gate, which clamps my signal before going into my overdrive, just kind of cleans it up. And then I have my TS9 Ibanez overdrive pedal. So what I do with that is I try to keep my gain kind of turned down on this, and I use that as a clean boost, so it kind of gives me a tighter sound without getting too muddy. And from there, I have one of my favorite pedals, which I'm unfortunately not using too much right now, but it's a Visual Sound Liquid Chorus and Echo H2O. It's a freaking amazing pedal. I can't find anything that sounds like it. I'm hoping to use it a little bit more coming up on some of our newer stuff, but that pedal sounds amazing. So I have all 3 of those rooted into here. From there, I go into the Korg Pitch Black Tuner. I love this thing. It's really small, low profile, really easy to see on stage. Try not to tune it too much on stage, but I kind of get weird with that, and I'm always, you know, second guessing myself and making sure that it's tight, which this thing is really great to have. So moving down to my amp, I'm using the PV6505 Plus. I absolutely love this thing. It totally rips. That in conjunction with the TS9, it's just awesome. I get a super tight sound, and I like doing the chugga chugga and the really fast picking stuff, and this thing just cuts through like crazy. Total beast. The clean channel isn't the greatest, but that's kind of well known, but that's also why with the TC Electronics, so when I use them in conjunction with that, I can put up some patches that really kind of improve that sound, and I can get a good sound that I want. Moving down to the pedal board, as you can see, I have everything routed through my Voodoo Lab Ground Control Pro. I absolutely love this thing in conjunction with my GCX audio switcher and the TC Electronics. It works fantastic. Anytime I need to switch channels, all of the work is done for me. So I press one button and anything that I need switched changes. I have 4 different patches set up for 4 different things, but in each one of those patches, I can turn any of my pedals or certain effects on and off. I have a kill switch here for a tuner. This thing just works great. And then I also have the Mission Engineering expression pedal, so I can have any sort of wah or volume or pitch effects. It's fantastic. It's sturdy, and because I have the GCX audio switcher, I have this phantom powered, so I only have 1 plug. I don't have to ever worry about on-stage power. It's killer. I love it. And then, of course, up top, if you've seen us live, you know we got a light show that kind of goes with everything that we have. And this is one of the lasers we have on top of both of our heads. This runs to the front. There's a power patch right here, and that way we can turn it on and off as needed. It's pretty great. It makes for some really cool effects, and we can get some really cool pictures out of it too. So there's that. Take a look at my drawer here. Got my little baggie of picks, my custom picks that I got made through Sinister guitar picks. They're pretty great. You should check them out. Got a baggie of batteries, because you never have too many batteries. You got the controller for my lights, so if I ever want to, switch things up, I can. never know when you're gonna need a knife, so. And screwdriver, because that's always good. And then I also keep my cables in here for the thing. And everything is housed in my custom built case that I had built from Gilmore Custom Cases. This thing is, I mean, look at it, it's just freaking awesome. I had it built exactly to my specifications with the half rack on this side and my full rack on that side, so I can save space, so I wasn't stacking it even taller, because, you know, some of us were trying not to be as tall as we can be. Jeff. Yeah, and then of course all that comes out of my Carbon 412. Love that thing. And yeah, that's my rig in a nutshell.
All right, so this is Brad from HellHeart doing a rig rundown on this, what I consider to be my dream rig. Essentially, I've been able to, with this band, build the rig that I've always wanted to build. My tastes may change over the years, but as of right now, I love this thing. So let's start up here. I got the Shure wireless. It's a very old wireless system. Let's go into the drawer. And I have all the things I would need before I go on stage up in here. I got batteries. I even separate my batteries, ones I've used, ones that are brand new. I keep all my Pics in this little case right here. Controller for the lights, so I can change color of the lights whenever I want. Earplugs, in-ear monitors, and some Allen wrenches in case I run into some problems with my floating system. And I have another drawer that's just full of spare cables. So spare speaker cable, instrument cable, XLR, MIDI. We even have a spare MIDI cable in there. All kinds of spare stuff in there. Moving over to the rack, so I have my power conditioner, and I have my decimator, which is one of my newest rack pieces that I really love a lot. What's cool about this is it has two different channels of gate, so you can gate in front of the amp and in the effects loop at the same time, which is really handy because you are going to get noise through both of those sources, and to be able to turn it off, essentially that's what I can do, is just go, okay, noise is off now, no more noise, is awesome. So I love that. So I also have a TC Electronics G Major 2, like Jess does, with the same unit. And you know, I do use it a lot for leads mostly. I use the delay a lot, and on the cleans I have compression, a bit of a pitch control, like a little vibrato in there, a chorus and a delay, all happening at the same time. And with my pedal board I can just hit one pedal and it all changes, so that's really cool. The bottom rack is nothing. I actually keep cords that are all messy under there, so save a little bit of space. Coming down to the amp, this is my most recent addition as far as amps go. My newest amp is the EVH3 5150 6L6 edition, 50 watt, which I love a lot. And a lot of people ask me, oh man, how come you're not using the 100 watt? And my answer is because this one has MIDI and the other one doesn't. And also 50 watts is plenty for most shows. Like, you're never gonna play a venue where 50 watts isn't enough, at least I'm not. And anytime that the amp volume's not enough, you're usually gonna be mic'd anyway, so it's not really a big deal to have only 50 watts. And it does sound really great. I love this thing. I use it in conjunction with my Horizon Devices Tokyo Drive to get perfect distortion, what I consider to be perfect distortion. So I run the amp a little bit dry, the gain's at like 6 or something like that, and I put the drive on top of it to give it a little extra crunch. And so yeah, and then I'm using the Carbon 4x12 as well. So moving down to the pedal board, on the left side I have my Zakk Wylde Dunlop Crybaby, which I think is my favorite out of all the Crybabies. And then the Horizon Devices Precision Drive, but I have the special edition Tokyo Drive, which makes it so I can't tell any of the knobs do because I don't speak Japanese. Sonic Maximizer, which I'm not using, so someday I may incorporate that. It's just there for looks at this point, but at any time I could wire it up and use it. with the new amp, I haven't been using it because I don't need to. It just sounds great on its own. I'm also using Ground Control Pro, and so this is why I went to MIDI completely, because I can do pretty much anything with one button. If I want to have delay come on and switch channels and have something else come on, I can do it with one button. Cleans, everything on my clean channel comes on with one button. So a lot of times on stage it's really, there's not a lot of room and you have to do a lot of moves with your feet. And if you have a MIDI system, it's really easy to switch channels and turn on effects at the same time. So it's really handy to have. It's a little bit big. I mean, it makes your pedal board bigger, but it's totally worth it in the long run for me to have that. So essentially, that's my rig. Also, guitar hanger. Super quick hack for any rig. Have a guitar hanger right there. You can have your spare set up right here, ready to go. You could even have your main here if you want to, whatever. I thought this was like the coolest extra. I'm just like, oh, why hasn't everybody thought of that? So really cool extra. So that's all I got. Thanks, guys.
What's up, guys? This is Jeff with HellHeart. I play bass, and well, I try to at least. It's pretty simple, even though it's fucking massive. It's pretty simple. Got a monster power conditioner, runs everything through that. I have a blank space cover. It works really well. Haven't had any issues with that yet. I have a really old BBE Sonic Maximizer, which I like because it's only a single channel and it's black, and now they're all red and silver, so black is cooler. Korg pitch black tuner, a drawer with a bunch of crap, wireless, extra cables, in-ears, all that fun stuff. And underneath that, I have a shelf. So on the shelf here, I don't like a bunch of stuff on the floor. It just gets in the way, and I don't do any switching or anything live other than maybe turning off distortion. So keep it simple. I have a Line 6 G50 wireless, which runs into the tuner, from the tuner back to MXR Smart Gate, which just helps keep things clean before going into the Boss compressor, which I'm just using that for now. It's made for a guitar, but it works fine. Eventually I want to get the MXR bass compressor, so if there's anybody from Dunlop watching. After that goes into the MSR Bass DI Plus, which I really love. A lot of guys are using a lot more expensive units from certain other brands, but I get what I want directly out of this perfectly fine. And if we want to, I don't even need to bring an amp. I can bring just a pedal and be good. So all that runs into the GK 1001 RB Mark II. The effects loop, the only thing I have is the BBE. Keep it pretty simple. I have the direct out in the front, which there's only one, so to solve the problem of running our in-ears and the front of house, I actually have it routed to the back of the amp, split into two separate direct outs, which also keeps this very clean because, like we've said before, we don't want to trip over a bunch of stuff. It just keeps it clean and tidy. As far as cabinets, right now I'm using the GK Neo 4x12, which is a monster. It basically sounds like having a 410 and a single 15 without having to run two separate cabs. I just have one cabinet and we're good to go. And then all that is encased in this custom case. Everything we have is in custom cases made by Gilmore Custom Cases, and we can't thank them enough for everything they do for us. It definitely makes our life easier and keeps all our stuff in good shape. And that's pretty much it. I keep it pretty simple.
This is Brad and Jess from HellHeart. I'll say your name for you. We're doing guitars now.
This is Jess and Brad from HellHeart.
We're doing guitars now. So starting on the left-hand side, I have my Ibanez Iceman, which is my newest addition. So this is actually the Sam Topman signature guitar from Dragon Force. So it comes with DiMarzio Evolutions in it, Edge 3 bridge, and yeah. So I just love this thing. It's a neck through. There's not a lot of Ibanez guitars that I've played that have neck through, and this thing just sounds massive. So I love that a lot. Also, my backup, or my other main, is my Chapman Norseman. This is the first edition, so this thing is incredibly heavy. I've heard they've lightened up the wood on the newer versions, so my shoulder is not happy about that, but it is amazing. And I replaced the pickups with Seymour Duncan, Nazgul, and Sentient pickups. Floyd Rose original 1000 Just a beast of a guitar, and I love it a lot.
Moving on to my main. This is a covered in sweat Spear Gladius. Spear is a smaller company that's based out of Korea. I really like their guitars. I think this guitar is just beautiful, neck through. I did replace the pickups. I also have the Nazgul Sentient set. I mean, it's pretty simple, but it does the job that I need it to do. Also got my wireless pack on here.
Alright, so talking about guitars, this is my main bass. It's an Epiphone Thunderbird Pro, neck through body, active electronics, high mass bridge, brass nut. That's all stock, but sounds pretty killer right out of the box. It's a good price too, and I like the oddball shapes. And quick hack too, which I do to all my stuff. I got a satin finish on the neck, which you can tell the difference up here. Makes a huge difference when you sweat and you're not sticking to the neck when you're trying to play. It sounds massive because it is massive. It weighs a ton, but it definitely does the job. None of my guitars fit in this thing, so as you can tell. My backup is another Epiphone. This one's a Carina Explorer 70 something reissue, I don't know, something like that. But brass nut again, all stock actually. It's the backup. It doesn't get used a whole lot, but I do enjoy the shape. Set neck, nothing fancy, but it's definitely fun to play. And that's it really. They're both dirty as hell right now.
And then another thing that we keep in here that I insisted on keeping in here is
Which is actually really freaking nice.
Chord tuner. Of course, it's not a chromatic tuner, so it's kind of a pain in the ass because we play in drop tunings.
So I complain a lot.
You know, it saves us from having to tune on stage. I'm like, my philosophy is like, don't tune on stage, tune before you get on stage. That's a really handy thing that I consider to be a hack in our guitar vault. And it doesn't have lights, but we do have a light
It does
controller.
have lights.
Does it?
It does have lights. The plug's right here. We had to cannibalize the power supply for the lights on the bass drum.
Where are the lights at?
Right here. So we can
So
control
I
the lights.
stand corrected. This controller is not.
We haven't used the lights in so long because, I mean, usually it's not in a place where it's necessary. But yeah,
Everything should have lights on it.
yeah.
Even this
We-
big can
We
should have lights on it.
don't suggest that to a certain somebody because he'll freaking do it. He'll also put a HellHeart sticker on it and be like, we should sell it for merch. But yeah, the case also, the Gilmore custom cases, treated pretty well by them. Yeah, I also have the thing here that Brad has. Look at it. Look at how nice that is.
I really wanted for that to just completely collapse for this video. Just crash to the ground.
That makes me cry. This is Jess and Brad doing guitars.
Brad and Jess.